Hello, friends, and welcome to a special edition of NFL Saturday. This is the Week 18 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Saturday, special Saturday edition. Hello, friends. Anthony Florio alongside good old MF, Michael Fletcher. We are maybe awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he should come in, we will catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. We were supposed to have this show the other night, this past Thursday night, but due to some commitments and other things beyond our control, we had to cancel. MF had work commitments. I had technical difficulties beyond my control. So we felt it was in the best interest to postpone the show on Thursday night and move it to tonight. And here we are. Final week of the regular season. A lot of things came out, obviously. Of course, we know what the big story was. Damar Hamlin and the scary scene that we saw last Monday night in Cincinnati, which led the Bills-Bengals game to be wiped out, to be canceled, kiboshed, and that game will no longer will be on the records. So we're now in week number 18, and I mean, this is going to be all about Damar Hamlin, and rightfully so. It's going to be a very emotionally charged week. I mean, it's already been week 18 already underway, and it got underway 4:30 this afternoon and evening as the Kansas City Chiefs took care of their business. They defeated the Las Vegas Raiders 31-13, and with that win, the Kansas City Chiefs once again sit atop the AFC. They are the number one seed. The road to the Super Bowl in the AFC will go through Arrowhead, provided that the Buffalo Bills do not make it to the AFC Championship game alongside them. If that should happen.
Or Cincinnati.
Or Cincinnati as well, yes. But let's get into the numbers here for Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes didn't have to do much. 18 of 26, 202 yards, had a touchdown, no interceptions. Isaiah Pacheco, 64 yards rushing and a touchdown. Ronald Jones, 45 yards rushing and a touchdown. Tony had a rushing touchdown. Watson was the leading receiver, 67 yards on only one catch. McKinnon had a receiving touchdown. Defense came to play today. Goodness. Forward progress on that one. All right. 3.5, 5, 6. Defense recorded 6 sacks and an interception. Chris Jones had 2.5 sacks for Kansas City. Dana had 2 sacks of his own. Reed had a sack, and Karlaftis had half a sack. And Thornhill had the interception for the Kansas City Chiefs. For the Raiders, Jarrett Stidham, 22 of 36, 219 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. And Stidham was also the team's leading rusher, 50 yards on 7 carries. Josh Jacobs held to only 45 yards. Devontae Adams, 5 catches for 73 yards to lead the receiving corps. Hunter Renfrow had a receiving touchdown, 7 catches, 63 yards for him. Raider defense recorded 2 sacks. Max Crosby and Farrell had the other sack, no interceptions, and that's that. Kansas City finishes the season 14-3. Good enough to be the number one seed in the AFC. The Raiders finish at 6-11, and that's all she wrote on that one. We'll give our thoughts on that in a moment. The other game that's in progress right now, big one here, the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars for the AFC South. Oh, that was incomplete. So the 3rd and 1 coming up. 16-13, Tennessee leads Jacksonville. 5:19 remaining in the 4th. It's a 3rd and 1 for the Tennessee Titans. And I can tell you right now, oh, yes, you best believe there will be bonus commentary. And I think we might be warranted to do a little bit of that right here and now. So here we go. We got the 3rd and 1 right here. So let's see what happens on this one. Third and 1. And Dobbs gets the sneak, and he's got the first. The forward progress gives Tennessee the first down. Coming up on 5 minutes remaining in this game, 16-13. The Tennessee Titans lead the Jacksonville Jaguars. But while we have a moment, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs, number 1 seed in the AFC, which you could say was to be expected going into the season because, hello, you still got Patrick Mahomes, you still got Travis Kelce, and I'll be honest, I had my doubts, considering about Tyreek Hill when Tyreek Hill went to Miami, but this team just finds ways to win. They always do. And they added new receivers, Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They got some other playmakers on there as well. The defense played out of there. They played insane today, 6 sacks, like I said, for that defense. And that was a game. I mean, because they had been struggling. They barely got by most of these games over the last few weeks, but today felt like a vintage Kansas City Chief game. They took advantage of an inferior opponent and did what they were supposed to do against a soft opponent, and that is run them out. And that's exactly what they did. 31-13, the final, and they now have the number 1 seed in the AFC. So we will not see them next week. They will be back in 2 weeks for the divisional round. So there isn't much more to say on that. So MF, Kansas City Chiefs, number 1 seed. Like I said, I had my doubts, especially when Tyreek Hill left, but you never had doubts. You never did.
And the thing is that, like you expected, it was about Kansas City, and it was about Patrick Mahomes. Look, Mahomes had to do a lot this year, more than anything else. This was a big opportunity for them. They did what they needed to do to get the job done. They did it. So for them to get the number 1 overall seed in the AFC is an accomplishment in itself. But obviously for Kansas City, you got to keep focused. This is a great thing to have the number 1 seed, to get that first round bye. That's great, but you know what the ultimate goal is: getting to the AFC Championship game, getting to the Super Bowl. That's the ultimate goal for Kansas City, and there's really nothing more to add there. So, Anthony, oh my goodness, is that a touchdown?
Touchdown, Jacksonville!
Oh my God!
Josh Allen. The defensive Josh Allen. Let's see it again. Is it a fumble, though?
Well, that's the thing that you got to watch for. Was the arm going forward? Was the arm going forward at the top? This is Jenkins. He comes out basically from the blind side. Here he comes, and it... Oh, this is going to be tight.
It looks like it was going forward.
Oh.
It stands.
No, I think that should, because I think that's that empty arm when he got hit.
The ruling stands. It's going to stand. It's a touchdown. The Jags have taken their first lead of the night with 2:51. Patterson with the extra point. 20-16, the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2:51 remaining. Jenkins forces it out. And the defensive Josh Allen, not to be confused with JA-17 in Buffalo. Oh, no. This is JA-41 for Jacksonville. And he takes it to the house. And for the first time tonight, MF, the Jacksonville Jaguars lead in this winner-take-all game for the AFC South.
And it was a beautifully scripted play, like we said. It was the fumble from the blind side. Beautiful hit. There'll be some debate about was the ball going forward at the time, but the referee says no. It was confirmed by replay. And Trevor Lawrence and this team, you want to talk about a remarkable run. They were thinking this is going to be the same old Jaguars, that they're not this good, they're not this great. And all of a sudden, they are about to pull off one of the greatest turnarounds in NFL history. A division title and a guaranteed home game in Super Wild Card Weekend if they could finish this.
This game is far from over. 2:51 remaining, and when the Titans have trailed in the fourth quarter this season, they are 0-8. Previous 4 seasons, they won an NFL high 14 such games.
If you're Josh Dobbs, you got to kind of have to, put that play behind you. It's everything is on the table now. You got one of the best running backs in all of the NFL with Derrick Henry. You got a good receiving core with you. The line's gotta have to hold because now the Jaguars smell blood. They're gonna bring everything but the kitchen sink at them now.
Dobbs gets a first down on this first run. First down carry by Dobbs.
That's that RPO designed run that he does. He basically saw on the outside, gave it, but decided that there wasn't a hold there and decided to go to swing it to the outside, got the edge, got the corner, and got the first down. Well done by Dobbs.
Henry. Henry. 9. Jenkins and Campbell combined on that stop. And I would not be surprised if they take this down to the 2-minute warning. Or maybe they try to get one more off.
No, you want to probably get at least one more play before the 2-minute warning. You want to be on, if you really want to do this, you get on the Jacksonville side of the field and then maybe wait till the 2-minute warning.
They get it off, Dobbs, and it's caught for a first down. It's Swain. And we have reached the 2-minute warning. We have reached the 2-minute warning. The Jags trying to hang on. The Titans are at midfield. Don't you dare leave us now. Oh, boy. I don't think we would have had this any other way, would you? This is the way, a game of this magnitude, this is the way it should be. Close, competitive, down to the wire. And, well, while we have a moment, what we will do real quick is we will dive into our first game of week number 18. And let's keep it in mind, not every game is going to have playoff implications. There are a few games on this schedule here that will not have any implications whatsoever. But a good majority of these games will indeed have the implications. So with that being said, let's get into our first game of the week while we have a couple of minutes here, and then we'll get back into our bonus commentary. Of course, we got to deal with my slow-moving system here, but it's all right. Just want to make sure we have everything ready to go here. All right. For those of you who may be new to this, Week 18, divisional games all the way. So let's get into our first such matchup. 1 o'clock games tomorrow, and it will feature the Tampa Bay Buccaneers squaring off against the Atlanta Falcons from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. On Fox, Adam Amin, Mark Schlereth, and Christina Pink will be on the call. Atlanta opening up as a 4-point favorite. Second meeting between these two. Tampa Bay won the first meeting in Tampa, 21-15. So Tampa adds to their series lead. They now lead at 30-28. They've won 5 straight against Atlanta. Last meeting in Atlanta last year, Tampa won 30-17. Falcons last beat the Bucs at home in 2018, 34-29. So let's see if we can quickly get into this game before we get back to our bonus commentary. What to watch for: Tom Brady has never lost to the Falcons in his career, 10-0 in the regular season, 1-0 in the postseason. Should Brady start tomorrow, he'll have a chance to extend that streak. Atlanta hasn't beaten Tampa Bay since 2019 and has not won at home against the Buccaneers since October 14th of 2018. The bold prediction last week might have belonged to Mike Evans, but Russell Gage, who has quietly come on in recent weeks, will finish with 75 receiving yards and a touchdown after missing the first matchup against his former team in Week 5. The stat to know, Brady has 477 completions this season and is 9 shy of breaking the single season completion record set by himself in 2021. What's at stake? The Buccaneers are in as NFC South Division champs and will be the number 4 seed in the playoffs. Falcons are eliminated and looking at the number 8 spot in the draft per ESPN's FBI. The betting nugget, Tampa Bay is a league worst 4-11-1 against the spread this season, including 2-11-1 against the spread in its last 14 games and 1-5 against the spread in its last 6 games. It is also 0-5 in its last 5 road games. FPI likes Tampa Bay, 63%. I'll take a chance and go with Tampa in this one. I'll say 27-17 Tampa wins, but I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta wins because I'm sure Tampa will probably be resting a good majority of their starters. So, although I could go with Atlanta here, it's a tough one to call, but I'm leaning more towards Tampa here. So, 27-17. So, MF, Atlanta and Tampa, and then we'll get back to bonus commentary.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on this one. I do believe it will be Tampa Bay. I do believe that they'll win this one as well. I just don't see Atlanta hanging in there at all. I just feel like they're going to get the job done. So give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well. Anthony,
all right,
let's go back to Jacksonville.
Back to bonus commentary. It's 3rd and a long 12 for Tennessee. 1:46 remaining in regulation. 20-16 Jacksonville. Titans have 2 timeouts left, and they are facing a 3rd and 12.
On the last play, they almost fumbled it because of the pressure.
Indeed, they did.
Took a sack.
3rd and 12. All right, here we go. 3rd and 12 now. Oh. False start. Back them up 5 more.
It looked like he actually jumped because they were feeling that the blitz was coming.
Austin Hooper, the guilty party, right there. That little twitch right there.
Yep, the little twitch. But if you notice, the twitch was because of the fact that three Jaguars actually flew up the line to hit that they were blitzing.
All right, so now it's 3rd and 17.
Man, this place is loud.
Dobbs gets it off. A completion. It's Luakon. Big pressure by Arden Key on that Jag defense, and now this is it. It's 4th down. And the Titans have used their 2nd timeout. They only have 1 left. Let's see it here, MF.
Yeah, it was basically corner blitz coming up the line, and 2 men basically meeting them, and that's where basically you had the linebacker coming back, and he was the one that got away, and it was just good pressure. Nice play to make it a short gain there. Nothing more than that. But
4 yards.
Yeah. Dobbs needs extra help. He needs extra time for these guys to go down the field.
This is it. It's 4th down. They only have 1 timeout left. This could be ball game right here. 4th and 13. Dobbs. Catch. Haskins. Short. Jaguars win the division. Oluokun was there again for the Jags. And that should just about do it.
Yeah. Tennessee will only be allowed to stop the clock once. If you do 40 seconds per, you might be able to have just enough time to get out of there with the win. But they came with the safety. Here's the guy on the outside, and it was a short route. He should have actually kept going. But what made this play even more was there was a dump off. I think he was supposed to clear out the whole area, but he didn't, and it was short, and that could be the game there, Anthony. Jacksonville.
Victory formate. They're in victory formation. And it doesn't look like Tennessee's going to even bother. And this crowd at TIAA Bank Field is about to lose their minds.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's been 5 years since this team was last in the playoffs. And we remember they made it all the way to the AFC Championship game that year.
Yeah.
Before losing to the New England Patriots in Foxborough.
There hasn't been that many moments for this team. Golden moments. They've made 2 AFC Championship game performances, have yet to win the Super Bowl, but this has to be their best feeling ever to win this. They just called a timeout to prevent the delay of game, but they've milked the clock long enough that they should be able to get out of here with the division title. So unbelievable, man. To think where they came from.
3-7.
From 3-7 to now
9-8.
we're about to call them the AFC South champions. Doug Peterson, the magic he did in Philly, he's brought it to Jacksonville. Holy cow. That's all I can say. So, sorry for stealing your line, which is the holy cow, but my goodness. Unbelievable.
Well, it's they might have to do one more because it's at 45. So yeah, they will have to take at least one more kneel.
They'll have to take at least one more, maybe 2 more, depending on how quickly they do the clock.
A team that over the last 2 years won a total of 4 games. Started 3-7. And what did it was, and many will say maybe that the turning point was that miracle comeback against the Dallas Cowboys.
They got to take one more knee.
No, it's official. It's over.
It's done?
It's done. The Jacksonville Jaguars have won the AFC South. The Jacksonville Jaguars have defeated the Tennessee Titans 20-16, and they are AFC South Division champions. A 6-1 stretch after starting the year 3-7. And for the first time since 2005, they have swept the regular season series with the Tennessee Titans. Winning in Nashville last month and doing it again at home here tonight. 20-16, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They knock off the Tennessee Titans. And they will be the number 4 seed in the AFC and are looking at a potential showdown with either the Los Angeles Chargers or the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
So break it down here. Trevor Lawrence, 20 of 32, 212 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. The running game was very non-existent tonight. Travis Etienne, 7 carries, 17 yards. That was it. Christian Kirk, 6 catches, 99 yards, and a touchdown to lead the receiving corps. The defense. Oh, the defense. 4 sacks and an interception on the night. Olakon had a sack. Jenkins had a sack. Josh Allen had a sack. Robertson had a sack. And Tyson Campbell with a big interception that pretty much started the comeback here tonight in a game that was mostly dominated by Tennessee. And for Tennessee, Joshua Dobbs, 20 of 29, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Derrick Henry, 109 yards on 30 carries. Okonkwo, 42 yards and a touchdown. Woods had 40 yards. Hooper had 38 yards receiving. Their defense only recorded 1 sack, and that was Tierre Tart. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars, only the 5th team since the 1970 merger to go from worst record in the NFL to winning its division the following season. So, unbelievable. What a game this ended up being. And congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars, AFC South Division champions. They will be back at TIAA Bank Field next Saturday or Sunday as part of Super Wildcard Weekend, or maybe even Monday. Who knows? Because remember, there's 2 games on Saturday, 4:30 and 8:15, and then 4:30 and 8:15 on Sunday, and then we have as instituted last year, a Monday night game. So one of those games, we will have the Jacksonville Jaguars in it, and we won't know that until probably around this time tomorrow night when the Lions and the Packers finish it off. So, wow, what a moment. Congratulations, Jacksonville, from 3-7 to 9-8 and AFC South Division champions. You would have to consider this, without a doubt, the most remarkable in-season turnaround ever. We've seen teams start off bad and hardly even make the playoffs. But in this case, to go from 3-7, we thought this team about maybe 2 months ago was dead in the water. And now almost 2 months later, here we are talking about them as division champs. Hollywood couldn't write a better script. This is unbelievable. So this is the stuff that dreams are made of, folks. That's all there is to it. So, but I mean, what a week it's been for the Khan family, especially Tony Khan, with everything going on in the world of professional wrestling. I mean, he's got to be loving life right about now. So, but will he be loving life a little more? Could it lead to some bigger wins next week and beyond? We'll see. So that's all there is to say for that one. So 20-16, the Jacksonville Jaguars defeat the Tennessee Titans and win the AFC South Division title. And they will host either the Los Angeles Chargers or the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card round next Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. So congratulations to them. And as we look at the updated standings, of course, we know Kansas City is the number 1 seed. That's theirs, regardless of what happens tomorrow. Buffalo, with a win over New England, they would clinch the number 2 seed. Cincinnati, they can get the 2 with a win and a Buffalo loss. Jacksonville now in the 4. You got LA in the 5 spot. Baltimore currently sits at 6, and New England at the moment sits at 7. And on the outside looking in, you got both Miami and Pittsburgh. And wow. So not much more to say here. So MF, Jacksonville started 3-7. They closed going 6-1 down the stretch. Tennessee started 7-3 and go 0-7 after that. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of questions and there's going to be a lot of thoughts about how this team fell apart, especially when we're talking about Tennessee. The big question that we're going to see is what's going to happen now. Is this Mike Vrabel's last day on the job? Is he going to get fired for this? What's the look for Tennessee? Where do they go from here? Especially after that. Jacksonville, remarkable story, an incredible turnaround. and they earned it. They deserve this moment. They deserve the division, and I cannot wait to see them or see where they're matched up on Super Wild Card Weekend. And who knows, Anthony? Depending on the matchup, that might end up being our game. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. What the rest of the bracketing looks like. But oh my! So yeah, nothing more to say. Congratulations, Jacksonville, and it's on to now going into the Sunday games.
Yep, and we've already talked about Tampa Bay and Atlanta, and I started it. So MF, you'll be leading off on our next one, and this is one of the big games of the week. The one of the other big games of the week on our side of the ledger. If not for the implications of tonight, this, without a doubt, would have been our game right here tonight. Well, the game tomorrow, rather, as it will be our number 2 game of the week, as it will feature the New England Patriots squaring off against the Buffalo Bills, Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, on CBS. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. They will be in Buffalo for this one. And as I'm looking at it, Buffalo opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. Second meeting between these two, of course. These two teams met back on the 1st of December in Foxborough, and Buffalo won that game by a score of 24-10. And even though the series history is still very one-sided, New England still leads the all-time series 76-47 now, with a tie with the Buffalo win in Foxborough. The regular season game in Buffalo last year, New England won that game by a score of 14-10, and Buffalo last beat the Patriots at home in 2020, 24-21, 1st of November 2020. I remember that very well. So MF, New England, Buffalo, number 2 game on our side of the ledger. Big implications in this one as well. Buffalo's already won the AFC East, their 3rd in a row. A win here by Buffalo, and they will be guaranteed the number 2 seed in the AFC. Meanwhile, as for New England, very simply put, win and they're in. Huge implications.
And this is the one that we were looking forward to because of the fact, like you said, with New England and Buffalo. Buffalo put themselves in a position, obviously, with some unfortunate circumstances that did happen. They won't be able to get the number 1 seed, but the thing is that they would still be they're still a Super Bowl favorite. They're still a Super Bowl contender. There's no doubt about it. But you don't want to lose this game either, because you don't want to lose the momentum. And there is a possibility that if they lose and I believe if Cincinnati wins, there's a chance for a flip where Cincinnati claims 3, Buffalo.
Cincinnati would go 2, and Buffalo would go down.
Yeah. 3. So obviously, in this situation, you want to get the 2 seed, because that means you'll play the number 7 seed, and in that instance, that means you're either going to be running into Miami, New England, or Pittsburgh, depending on how the outcomes go in their respective games.
And also, MF, let's also not forget that we already know this is going to be a highly emotional weekend all around the league. But when it comes to all the games, this will hands down be the most emotional.
Yeah.
Because of Damar Hamlin.
With Damar Hamlin, everything else. Like I said, there was that so much uncertainty about the game going in because of the fact that you didn't know what the feeling or the sentiment was going to be until we started hearing the good news. After we started hearing that he was opening his eyes, that he started to get function in all of the extremities, the arms, the legs. Then they were able to take the tube out. He was starting to talk, communicate with people, everything else. I think at that point, it eased the mind on Buffalo and the fans. But let me tell you, man, it's going to be it's going to be a little bit emotional at the beginning. And you might see Buffalo maybe a little flat footed at the beginning, which honestly, I would not be surprised if that first quarter, maybe Buffalo comes out a little flat in the game because they're going to be emotionally drained and everything else, dealing with everything that has happened. If you're New England, the first quarter is the perfect time to attack on Buffalo because, like I said, because of all of the emotions and everything else, Buffalo's probably going to be the most vulnerable at the beginning. But if New England doesn't benefit from that beginning where Buffalo might be that emotionally where they'll be emotionally charged, if they don't jump on that early, they're going to get smoked in the second half. That's all I'm saying. I think because the one thing you also got to remember is that at the point of the stoppage, at the point that the game got called off and everything else, Cincinnati was really moving the ball on Buffalo at will. Like they got that first early touchdown. They smoked them on the first play, on the first couple of plays, got the early touchdown. Then on top of that, Buffalo came back, got a field goal. But if you notice, Cincinnati was moving that ball downfield again. And they were about to go, and I'm going to honestly say, they had that look like they were about to score another touchdown and go up 14-3 and really put a lot of pressure on the Bills. I believe at the end of the day, Buffalo will win this game and they will prevent New England from going to the playoffs. They're going to keep that 2 seed. They want to keep that momentum hot. They definitely want to do it for Damar Hamlin. And let me tell you, I like I said, I think it's going to be a little bit early where Buffalo maybe going to need to get their sea legs under them or whatever. I don't think they're going to start out really hot. Once they get into the second half, I think Buffalo will be clicking on all cylinders. They're going to play, there's going to be that emotional twist and they're going to go off on New England. I feel sorry for Mac Jones and the guys. I think they're going to get smoked in Buffalo. I think that crowd is going to be lit. They're going to be emotional. It's going to be a bad ending for New England, man. So I got Buffalo winning this game, and it's not even going to be close, Anthony. So I got it 35-20. Buffalo beats New England and prevents them from going to the playoffs. It's yours.
It is a win and in scenario for New England with the final wild card spot on the line. But to get to the playoffs, they have to take down a Bills team coming off an emotional week following Damar Hamlin's collapse on the field due to cardiac arrest last Monday night in Cincinnati. The Bills dominated the team's meeting earlier this season, almost doubling the Patriots' time of possession and holding New England to just 60 rushing yards. Patriots running back Damian Harris will be an unexpected breakout player, rushing for more than 100 yards against the Bills' run defense that ranks 13th in the NFL, and average yards allowed per carry at 4.3. Harris's return from a 4-game absence due to a thigh injury. Important boost. Oh, hold on. I got a video here. Hold on. All right. I think I fixed it. All right. Before I was so rudely interrupted there. Harris's return from a 4-game absence due to a thigh injury was an important boost to a New England offense that was relying too heavily on fatigued Ramondre Stevenson. The Bills could match the franchise record for most wins in a season at 13, done 3 times previously in 1990, 1991, and 2020. What's at stake? The Patriots are playing for the playoffs, needing a win to clinch the final AFC wildcard spot, but they can also make it with a loss. Well, actually, they can make it with a loss as long as both Miami loses to the Jets, Pittsburgh loses to Cleveland, and Jacksonville wins. One off. Jacksonville won. So they need if they lose, they would need Miami and Pittsburgh to lose as well, and they'll be in. ESPN's FPI is giving New England a 33.2% chance, Bills are already AFC East champs, and unfortunately they cannot be the number 1 seed. They would have with a win here, but they would have needed the Chiefs to lose, but that did not happen. Kansas City won, so the 1 seed is no longer in play, but it is what it is. But they can get the 2 though with a win, which is just as good, because you would have 2 home games guaranteed, at least 2 home games, provided you get to the divisional round. And then from there, the only way that they would not host the AFC Championship game is if Kansas City is right there with them. So then that would go to a neutral site. FPI loves Buffalo here. 78.5%, just about 79% going with Buffalo. I'm going with Buffalo as well. I'm going to say 28-17. Buffalo defeats New England, clinches that 2 seed. And it's going to be a very emotional scene. I mean, it's going to be an emotional weekend all around, like I said, but no game's going to have more emotion than this one, considering that DeMar Hamlin is a Buffalo Bill. And, man, I can only imagine how emotional that's going to be tomorrow. So, all right, moving on to our next matchup, as it will feature the Minnesota Vikings squaring off against the Chicago Bears from Soldier Field in Chicago. This game over on Fox. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Shannon Spake will have the call for Fox on that one. Let me see. Minnesota opening up as a 7-point favorite. They met earlier in the year, and Minnesota won that game 29-22 in Minnesota. So Minnesota adds to their series lead. They now lead 64-56 with 2 ties. And they've now won 3 straight against Chicago. They won in Chicago last year, Minnesota did, 17-9. They've won the last 2 meetings in Chicago. Chicago last beat Minnesota at home in 2019. That was a 16-6 final. So let's now get into Minnesota and Chicago. Justin Fields' second NFL season ends 64 yards shy of the single-season quarterback rushing record after he was ruled out against Minnesota with a hip injury. Nathan Peterman will start for Chicago. Meanwhile, the NFC's number 2 seed is still in play for Minnesota, so long as they win at Soldier Field and the 49ers lose to the Arizona Cardinals. The Vikings defense will have its best statistical day of the season with Fields sidelined. Even with Fields on the field, the Bears managed just 230 yards last week against the Lions' woeful defense. The Vikings enter this game giving up about 397 yards a game, 31st in the NFL. Their season low for yards allowed was 263 in Week 9 at Washington. They'll hold the Bears below that threshold. Kirk Cousins is tied with Dak Prescott and Derek Carr for the league lead in interceptions with 14. The Vikings are locked in as NFC North Division champs, but do not have a shot at the number 1 seed. They are most likely to be the number 3 seed, setting up a potential wildcard matchup with the New York Giants. As we all remember, they had a very highly entertaining game a couple of weeks ago on Christmas Eve that Minnesota won. I believe it was like 27-24. Joseph had a 61-yard field goal at the buzzer to win it. The Bears have been eliminated, but are right in the mix for the number 1 draft pick, which ESPN's FPI currently gives them a 48.4% chance to land. They would have to lose and see Houston beat Indianapolis. Minnesota is 0-4 against the spread in its last 4 games. 6 straight Minnesota games have gone over the total. FPI likes Minnesota here, 64% going with Minnesota. I'm going with Minnesota as well. Minnesota wins. Final score, 23-10. I got Minnesota defeating Chicago. So not much more to say here. MF, Minnesota, a win and a Niner loss, and they'll be the 2. But the best I think they can do is the number 3, because San Fran has the tiebreaker. And if San Fran beats Zona, then San Fran gets the 2, and Minnesota will settle into the 3. But San Fran still has their eye on the 1, and we can get into that a little bit. But nonetheless, Minnesota for me, I got Minnesota here, 23-10. So MF, Minnesota and Chicago at Soldier Field tomorrow, Minnesota. With a chance at a number, still have a puncher's chance at that 2, but I don't realistically see it.
Yeah, I mean Minnesota definitely kind of had an outside shot at it, but yeah, I'm with you here, Anthony. I think that Minnesota will get the job done and they'll win the game. So there's really nothing more to add. So it's yours.
Yeah, I mentioned that the New England Buffalo game was the number 2 game on our side. Next up is our number 3 game. We have the Baltimore Ravens squaring off against the Cincinnati Bengals from Paycor Stadium, formerly Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. On CBS, Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, and Melanie Collins will be on the call for that one. And the spread favors Cincinnati. Cincinnati opening up as a 9-point favorite. First meeting between these two was on a Sunday night in Baltimore, and the Baltimore Ravens went on to win that game by a score of 19-17. So when it comes to the series history of these two, Baltimore adds to their series lead. It's only 28-25 now, including that win. Yep, I got it right. 28-25, snapping a 2-game losing streak to the Bengals. The Bengals swept the season series last year. Baltimore won at home 1917. So when it comes to Cincinnati, last year in Cincinnati won 41-21. The Ravens' last win in Cincinnati was 2020, 38-3 beatdown. So MF, looking at Baltimore and Cincinnati. Trying to find it here in my notes here. It's a little further down. All right. When it comes to this one, both teams are in, and the Bengals have won the North. So we have an interesting scenario here, MF. If the Ravens are to win this, and they go up against Cincinnati, and they're matched against Cincinnati in a wild card game, the site would be determined by a coin toss.
Yeah.
If Cincinnati wins, or if the two teams are not matched against each other after a potential Raven win, regular scheduling procedures would be used. So, but here's the thing: when it comes to Baltimore, still no Lamar Jackson. That's the bad news. But the good news is they're saying there's an outside chance Lamar Jackson could be back in time for the postseason next week. Could.
Well, that's the thing. Without Lamar Jackson, I just don't see it. And on top of that, the way Cincinnati has played before the stoppage, before the game got halted last week, Anthony, I think Cincinnati is they're motivated, man. And I know that there's a lot of people talking about everything that went down, and there's going to be an emotional. No, the Bengals knows what's at stake. First off, they're already mad about the fact about this coin toss thing more than anything else. So the Bengals fans are like, we're not gonna force, we're not gonna do this. We're not forcing a coin toss. We're not doing any of this stuff. We're gonna slam the door and we're gonna end that one little loophole that the NFL was gonna try to implicate. So no, they're not gonna force they're not gonna make the Baltimore Ravens win that game and then have it decide where if these two teams should match up, that the chances are is that they could possibly play each other in Baltimore, knowing that they're the division champion. No. So I think Cincinnati's going to do their business. They're going to take it out on Baltimore, and I got the Bengals winning this game. No, Anthony, it's yours.
All right. The stakes of this game were unclear early in the week, but the Bengals are now AFC North Division champions. Cincinnati had a much tougher schedule than Baltimore, which has been without Lamar Jackson down the stretch and lost 3 of its last 6 games. We could see a rematch of these two teams in the wild card round as well, with the location of that matchup being determined by a coin flip. The Ravens will give up more than 30 points. Since week 3, Baltimore is one of 2 defenses to hold every opponent under 30 points, that the other team being the Jets. But since the Ravens held the Bengals to 17 points in week 5, Joe Burrow and Cincinnati have averaged the 3rd most points in the league, 28.3 per. The Bengals could match their franchise record for most wins in a season, 12, done 3 times previously in 1981, 1988. Both of those years they went to the Super Bowl, by the way, and most recently 2015. As I stated before, both teams are in, and the Bengals are AFC North Division champs. If the Ravens win tomorrow and are matched against Cincinnati in the wild card game, the site would be determined by a coin toss. If Cincinnati wins, or if the two teams are not matched against each other after a potential Raven win, regular scheduling procedures would be used. Baltimore has not been more than a 3-point underdog this season. Since 2018, Baltimore is 16-3-1 against the spread as an underdog, including 6-2 against the spread without Lamar Jackson. FPI likes Cincinnati here, 58.2% going with Cincinnati. I'm going with Cincinnati as well. My final score, 27-10. Cincinnati beats Baltimore. So with that, we move on. Next up, well, the Zonk game. I'm gonna call this the Zonk game of the year right here. Not just the Zonk game of the week, but the Zonk game of the year on our side of the ledger. The Houston Texans squaring off against the Indianapolis Colts from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. And Spiro Ditas and Jay Feely will have the call for CBS. And the spread favors Indianapolis. Indy is favored. It's a 2.5-point spread for the Colts. These two teams met all the way back on opening day, week number 1, and they played to it was a 2020 tie. Yes, it was a 2020 tie, week number 1. So Indy still leads the series, very one-sided. It's now 31-9-1 for Indianapolis, including that tie in Houston in week 1. Last year in Indianapolis, Colts won going away 31-3. The Colts have done very well in Indy against Houston. They've won the last 3. Houston has not won in Indianapolis since 2018, 37-34 overtime win. But the last 3 years, Indy has beaten Houston. So Zonk game of the year right here, friends. No question about it. So let's dive right on into it while we have it. All right. The Texans would own the number 1 overall draft pick if the season ended today, but that could change with a win. The Colts, who are angling to acquire a franchise quarterback, currently own the 5th overall pick per ESPN's FPI projections, but could slide with a win. Every spot on the draft board is precious when you've endured the kind of quarterback morass they have in Indianapolis. The Texans win this game and lose the number 1 overall pick. Keep in mind, this is only a bold prediction. Texans win this game and lose the number 1 overall pick. Colts quarterback Sam Ehlinger has started 2 games this year, and the Colts are 0-2 in those starts, as he's averaged 152 yards passing with 0 touchdown passes. They also averaged 9.5 points a game under Ehlinger. The Colts haven't been great at running the ball either since Jonathan Taylor landed on IR. The Texans won't need to score much to beat the Colts, and getting to 17 points should be enough. The Colts are currently on a 6-game losing streak, their longest since losing 6 in a row in 2017. Both teams are eliminated from the playoffs, but there is something big on the line. The Texans can secure the number 1 pick in the draft for April if they lose or the Chicago Bears somehow beat the Minnesota Vikings. ESPN's FPI is giving Houston a 51.6% chance to clinch that number 1 pick. Indianapolis is 1-5 against the spread as a favorite this season and 1-7 against the spread in its last 8 games in that role. FPI loves Houston. They're giving Houston a 73% chance to win this game. I'm torn here. I really am. And this is the Zonk game. Go figure. I don't know why, but I'm leaning. This is tough. I'm thinking about Indy here, but if Houston were to win, I wouldn't at all be surprised. You know what? No, screw it. I'm going with Houston. I'm saying Houston wins. I'm going to say 19-16. It's going to be an ugly Zonk game, but the Houston Texans win this game. Both teams are terrible, but I think Houston's been playing a lot better than Indy has. But if Indy were to win, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I wouldn't. So 19-16, Houston wins. So MF, Zonk game of the year right here. The Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. Oof.
Yeah, no, this is going to be a bad matchup, to say the very least. Neither team has done really well at all, and I kind of feel I'm with you on this one. I'm feeling Houston. So Give me the Texans to win it. Anthony, next game.
All right, MF. All right. Of course, one thing that became a big thing this year and has become a big thing over the last few years has been cross flexing, and this is a game that you usually would see on CBS, but guess what? It got cross flexed over to Fox, but it's big nonetheless. The New York Jets squaring off against the Miami Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, on Fox this time around. Joe Davis, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Pam Oliver, they will be on the call for that one. Check the spread. Miami opening up as a 3.5 point favorite, 3.5 point spread for Miami. They met earlier in the year and in MetLife, and the Jets absolutely pounded the Dolphins 40-17. The Jets all over Miami at MetLife Stadium. I think that was back in October or so, and because of that, the Jets, because of that Jet win, the season series is now tied. It's 56-56 with a tie between the Jets and the Dolphins, tied up. So whoever wins this game will take the series lead. That Jet win snapped a 4-game losing streak to the Dolphins because the Dolphins had swept the Jets the previous 2 years. Dolphins won in Miami last year, 31-24. The Jets have not won in Miami since 2016. 27-23 was the final there, but the Dolphins have beaten the Jets at home 5 years in a row. So that's an encouraging sign for good old MF and his Miami Dolphins. So MF, it's very simple. Win and a Patriot loss for your Miami Dolphins. And I believe you start this one off. So me. Yep, yeah, it's MF. MF, come on in. It's only fitting that you start this one off. Jets, Dolphins, major implications here. Jets are done. Jets are out. But for your Miami Dolphins, I mean, a month ago, you guys were sitting pretty, and there was talks of you guys possibly being one of the top seeds in the AFC after starting the year 8-3.
Yeah.
But since then, oh, how the mighty have fallen. 0-4 in December, and then a tough luck loss in Foxborough last week to the Patriots. 5-game losing streak for the Dolphins. But you still have a chance. MF. All you guys have to do is win here and hope New England loses in Buffalo. That happens by some miracle. You guys are in, but if not, oh boy, what could have been, man? What could have been?
Yeah, it'll be the story like the Tennessee Titans. Miami was well on their way. Like a lot of people thought they had maybe an outside shot at the AFC East, but couple of bad games, couple of bad losses, and it kind of put us in a bad spot. Then Tua goes down with an injury. Now we're down to our third string quarterback. We're down to Skylar Thompson to hopefully help us get there. We did get a little bit of some encouraging news as it relates to Miami. A couple of guys who were banged up might go tomorrow. That should help the Dolphins. And on top of that, the Dolphins are not dealing with Mike White. They're not dealing with Zach Wilson. They're dealing with Joe Flacco. Flacco is now the starter for the Jets. Mike White is now out of the game. That's a huge plus for the Dolphins because the last time the Dolphins faced Flacco, they won. They beat him. So I think what it is that with everything on the line, being at home where they are really good, I think Miami will figure it out. I think they'll get the job done. They got obviously they're going to be doing a lot of scoreboard watching with the Patriot game because with the New England loss that gets Miami in. Um, I believe Miami will finally figure it out. They'll snap the losing streak, and Miami will make the playoffs. I think they get in. So I got Miami winning tomorrow. Anthony, like you said, the Jets got nothing to play for. Dolphins got everything to play for. I think you're finally going to see that Dolphin performance that's going to put them over the top. I think they're going to the playoffs.
The all-time regular season series between the teams is tied at 56-1. So the Jets could not only take the series lead with a win tomorrow, but they would also secure their first season sweep of the Dolphins since 2015. Interestingly enough, the Jets have never beaten quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, but will not have faced him in either of these teams' matchups this season, as Skylar Thompson is expected to start for the Dolphins tomorrow. Bold prediction, the Jets will fail to score an offensive touchdown for the third straight game. They're in a serious funk, having produced only 4 touchdowns in the last 5 games on 58 possessions. They're averaging 1 point per drive over that span, the lowest in the league. This feels like a slump that will carry into the offseason. The Dolphins have lost 5 straight games since an 8-3 start and are hoping to avoid ending a season with 6 straight losses for the first time in franchise history. The Jets might be eliminated. They are projected currently to pick at number 13 in the draft per FPI. But the Dolphins still have a lot to play for in Week 18. They need a win and a Patriots loss to Buffalo to clinch the final AFC playoff spot. They have a 49.5% chance to do so per the FPI. New York is 0-3 against the spread in its last 3 games. 9 of its last 11 games have gone under the total, including 3 straight. Miami is the FPI favorite, 63% going with the Dolphins. I'm going with the Dolphins as well. My final score, I'm going to say 20-16. Miami defeats the Jets. And if that happens, and if Buffalo beats New England like we think they will, that would open the door for the Miami Dolphins to somehow, some way get into the postseason after and avoiding what would have been a Tennessee Titan-like collapse. So we'll see what happens, MF. I know you're going to be on the edge of your seat on that one. All right, next up, our second to last early game. We got 2 early games left. Next up, we have the Carolina Panthers squaring off against the New Orleans Saints from the Caesars Superdome. I'm not used to that anymore. I'm so used to Mercedes-Benz Superdome, but New Orleans. On Fox, Jason Benetti, Matt Millen, and Megan O'Leary will be on the call for Fox in that one. And New Orleans opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. And in the first meeting in Charlotte, the Carolina Panthers won that game by a score of 22-14. So with all that, let's dive on in. Carolina cut into New Orleans series lead. It's now 28-27 now in favor of New Orleans. So if Carolina sweeps the season series here, they would tie the regular season series. So last meeting in New Orleans last year, New Orleans won 18-10. The Saints have won the last 3 meetings in the Dome against Carolina. Carolina has not won in New Orleans since 2018, 33-14 beatdown in the Dome in 18. So here we are, Panthers and Saints. Saints coach Dennis Allen has been firm about not making major changes to the lineup with no chance of reaching the playoffs, but injuries could tweak that a bit. First-round pick Trevor Penning could get his first start at left tackle in place of James Hurst, and rookie cornerback Alontae Taylor could get back into the starting lineup due to Paulson Adebo's hamstring injury after playing no defensive snaps last week. The Panthers will rush for at least 250 yards against the New Orleans defense that gives up 128 yards a game, including 145 to Carolina in a Week 3 loss. Deontay Foreman will lead the way with 150 yards and 2 touchdowns on 25 carries to send interim coach Steve Wilks off with a 6-6 record. Panthers receiver DJ Moore is 122 receiving yards away from a 4th straight 1,000-yard season. Neither team will make the playoffs, and while ESPN's FPI projects the Panthers draft pick to be number 9, the Saints do not have a first rounder this year. 8 of New Orleans' past 9 games have gone under the total, including 5 straight. Carolina has gone over the total in 4 straight games. The last 4 meetings between these teams went under the total. New Orleans, FPI favorite, 59% going with New Orleans. I'm going with New Orleans. I like New Orleans in this one. My final score, 28-24. New Orleans defeats Carolina in the Dome. So, MF, no implications here, but your thoughts on Carolina and New Orleans?
Yeah, no implications here, but I'm with you. I think Carolina's going to win. I do. I think they got a really good team.
I
I
had
think
New
New
Orleans.
Orleans. It's just. I think they just kind of. Huh?
I had New Orleans winning.
What was that?
I picked New Orleans.
Disagree. Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, and I disagree. I got
Fair
Carolina
enough.
winning. That's what I'm
All
saying.
right.
I'm calling for Carolina to pull the upset. I think they're gonna run it because you brought the stat, the run attack. I think they could actually run it down their throats, and I think they're gonna do it early. I think they're gonna do it often. I think they're gonna stymie that New Orleans team. New Orleans, I don't think they have the I think Carolina's gonna finish them off like you were talking about, just like they did earlier in the year. I think they're gonna get the season sweep. So Florio, what's yours?
All right, fair enough. Just wanted to be sure as always. So all right, let's get to our final early game. This one does have implications here. Well, for one team, really. This came in as our number 6 game of the week on our side. This was the number 6 game here. We have the Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Pittsburgh Steelers from Acrisure Stadium, formerly Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. And on the call for that one, it will be Greg Gumbel, the legendary Greg Gumbel, with Adam Archuleta and AJ Ross. And I believe Pittsburgh is the favorite here. Yep, Pittsburgh opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. These two teams met in Cleveland, first meeting. Cleveland won that game, 29-17. Cleveland cuts into Pittsburgh series lead. It's now 77-61 with a tie. And Browns snapped a 2-game losing streak because the Steelers won both meetings with Cleveland last year, including in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh won 26-14. Cleveland's last win in Pittsburgh, as we all know, was that wild and crazy wild card game 2 years ago where Cleveland won 48-37. The Browns' last regular season win in Pittsburgh, we got to go all the way back to 2003. 2003, the last time that the Cleveland Browns won a regular season game in Pittsburgh. That was on a Sunday night. I remember it very well. 33-13 was the final in that one. And that wild card win was the first time since then that the Browns had won a game in Pittsburgh. So, MF, I believe this one goes to you here. Obviously, Cleveland has eliminated. They don't have a first-round draft pick. But for Pittsburgh to make the playoffs, they need help. They need to win, and they need both New England and Miami to lose. But still, a big implications, at least for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, big implications for Pittsburgh, no doubt about it. It's going to be very interesting to see. So, I do believe Pittsburgh should win this game. It's not going to be the most glamorous game. It's not going to be a great game. I think this is going to be one of those kind of blue collar, knockdown, drag out, defensive style battles. This is going to be. I don't think it's going to be high scoring. I think this is going to be like a 20-17 type affair. I do believe that Pittsburgh should figure out a way to win it. The only thing that I would be a little worried about if you're Pittsburgh is Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb actually is in a horse race right now with Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders for the running back title for the running back crown for the best most yards in the season. So I could see them try to use him early and often. But I do believe Pittsburgh should get the job done. So Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. Fueling the Steelers' late surge is a clutch rookie quarterback and a turnover-happy defense. But the Browns aren't an easy win. The offense turned in its best performance since Deshaun Watson's return last week, thanks to Watson's 3 touchdown passes, Amari Cooper's 105 receiving yards, and Nick Chubb's 104 rushing yards. That win over Washington. Kenny Pickett has delivered so far in the clutch to keep Pittsburgh's playoff hopes alive. Yet again, the rookie quarterback will be down to score late and start a possession with the chance to win the game in the final seconds. Najee Harris is 46 rushing yards shy of a second consecutive 1,000-yard season. To start his career, he had 1,200 yards last year. Harris would be the first player in franchise history to rush for 1,000 yards in each of his first 2 seasons. Pittsburgh can still make the playoffs, but it needs help. It would need to win and get losses from New England at Buffalo and Miami at home against the Jets. ESPN's FPI is currently giving the Steelers a 15.6% chance, 16% chance to make it. The Browns have been eliminated and they don't have a first-round pick. 6 straight Cleveland games have gone under the total, including all 5 Watson starts. Pittsburgh is a slight favorite, only 53% going with Pittsburgh. But I got to go with Pittsburgh based on the role they've been on. I say Pittsburgh finds a way to win. I'm going to say 27-21. Pittsburgh defeats Cleveland. So that's it for the early games. Now let's get to the late games. We got 5 of them, 4:25 kickoffs all. And we start off with our number 7 game on our side of the ledger, as it will feature the Los Angeles Chargers squaring off against the Denver Broncos from Empower Field at Mile High in Denver on CBS. And it'll be Andrew Catalan, James Lofton, and Aditi Kinkabwela on the call for that one. And Denver, believe it or not, opening up as a 3-point favorite. First meeting was at SoFi. Chargers won that one 19-16. So the Chargers cut into Denver's series lead. Denver now leads the series 69-55 with a tie. Last year in Denver won. Denver beat the Chargers at home last year, 28-13. Broncos have actually won the last 3 meetings at home against the Chargers. The Chargers have not won in Denver since 2018. That was a 23-9 final. So now we go into the late games now with the Chargers and the Broncos. Here we go. Keep an eye on which Chargers lineup takes the field against the Broncos. Los Angeles could have its playoff seed locked in by kickoff. And if that's the case, some starters might rest. If so, Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson, who is on track for a career low in touchdown passes and already has a career high in sacks, 53, has a better chance at ending the season on a high note. The Bolts will do everything possible to get running back Austin Eckler the ball in the red zone to give the undrafted 6th-year running back a chance to join elite company. Eckler needs 2 touchdowns to join, listen to this lineup, MF, LaDainian Tomlinson, Sean Alexander, Priest Holmes, Marshall Faulk, and Emmitt Smith as the only players in NFL history with 20 touchdowns in consecutive seasons. Wow. Justin Herbert already has the most passing yards, 13,816 through his first 3 seasons of anyone in NFL history. The Chargers are locked into a wild card berth, while the Broncos are eliminated and do not have a first-round draft pick. Los Angeles is 4-1 against the spread as a road favorite this season. Chargers, 77% favorites in this one. But I'm still going to go with the Chargers to win. I'm going to go 23-19. I say the Chargers will steal one in Denver here. So not much more to say here. MF, Chargers are in. I don't know if they'll be playing for any type of seeding. Denver's already out, but Chargers Broncos number 7 game. Your thoughts?
It will be about the seeding more than anything else, because if Baltimore does lose, and the Chargers do win, they actually lock up the 5. They would lock up the 5 seed, and they would play Jacksonville in round 1. And that's a better matchup to do, instead of, if they lose the game, then they have to they'll either run into either Cincinnati or Buffalo. I would not want to play that. That's not a situation I would want to be in. If honestly, and I'm going to be truthfully honest here, I probably would prefer, if I'm the Chargers, I probably would want to play the Jacksonville Jaguars because I believe they match up better against Jacksonville than they would against either Buffalo or against Cincinnati. Because honestly, I don't see them hanging with either one. If for some reason Buffalo falls to the 3 and then they run into Jackson, it runs into the Chargers, especially going from west to east, I don't like that matchup. I don't. I don't like their chances against Buffalo. I definitely don't like them against Cincinnati. But if they go up to 5, run into Jacksonville, I like their chances. I think they could win that one. So because I think stylistically they match up better against Jacksonville in that one. A, better running game. B, maybe better quarterback. Justin Herbert over Trevor Lawrence. So if I'm the Jacksonville, if I'm the LA Chargers, I'm going for it. I'm going for the win. I'm going to win that game. And I'm hoping and praying that Cincinnati does their business and knocks Baltimore off the perch. So that we see the flip, that we see the flip at the 4-5 level, because I believe at the 5-6 level, I should say, because I believe the Chargers will actually have a better chance of advancing into the playoffs by knocking out Jacksonville instead of running into either Cincinnati or Buffalo, because if they run into one of them two, I think it's one and done for the Chargers. So no, I'm going for the win here, and I'm going with the Chargers winning this game to get the 5 seed. So Florio, it's yours.
All right, MF, and we move on to the next game, and this is our number 5 game. It's the number 5 game on our schedule here. And it's the cross flex. Remember, I mentioned the cross flex earlier. One game from each side got cross flex to the other. The Jets and the Dolphins were cross flex to Fox. And MF, what a game that they gave us in return. How about this one? The New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yes,
wow.
Indeed.
How about that? And it's that's amazing that we ended up getting that one cross flexed over to us. Thank you, scheduling gods, for that one. Good one here. New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles, Lincoln Financial Field, Philadelphia. On CBS, Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, Evan Washburn. They will have the call for that one. And Philadelphia opening up as a 15.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
15.5. Wow. Okay.
Reason why it's already been confirmed. We already know it. The Giants are resting almost all their starters for this game.
Oh, okay.
That's why the line went like that. Daniel Jones will not play. Saquon Barkley will not play. Most of the starters for the Giants will not play in the game. And the extra caveat, from what I've also heard, Jalen Hurts will play and start tomorrow.
Ooh,
so it's unofficial yet, but we've heard that Jalen Hurts is expected to play and most likely will start tomorrow. So that's why the number went that high up. That's why it exploded as it did. The division's on the line for Philly. The number 1 seed is on the line for Philly, because if Philly some way somehow loses this game and Dallas wins, the Dallas Cowboys is the division champions.
And could also be, but let's get into the other stuff here, the schematics, and while we have a moment.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second here. All right. as I set MF up for this game. As soon as I find it in my notes here. Yeah, 15.5 is the spread for Philly. First meeting in the Meadowlands in New York. Philly put a whooping on the Giants, 48-22 beatdown in MetLife. And Philly adds to their slate series lead. It's now 88-85 with 2 ties. Last year in Philly won going away 34-10. Philly has won the last 5 meetings against the Giants at home. The Giants have actually, no, I stand corrected. Philly's actually done quite well against the Giants at home over the years. The Giants have not won in Philadelphia since 2013. 2013, last time the Giants won in Philly, 15-7. But every year since 2014, the Philadelphia Eagles have beaten the Giants at home. The Eagles currently have an 8-game home winning streak against the Giants. So with that, and MF, after what you just dropped on us with the Giants resting their starters because they'll be in the wild card round regardless, and Jalen Hurts coming back, unofficially confirmed. It's currently 8 in a row for the Eagles at home against the Giants. I think we're most certainly looking at 9.
Yeah, and that's why I said what I said, because of the fact that when you saw 15.5 points, you're thinking, wait a minute, why so high? Why so high? It was already coming out within the last couple of days that they were going to start resting starters for New York because, like you said, really New York got nothing more to say, nothing more to worry about, and no other games to focus on because of the fact that this was their matchup, their battle, their game. And New York made the playoffs. They're in. They got nothing. They can't go up. They can't go down. Even if they lose, they're not gonna get punished. They're stuck at 5. They're gonna remain at 5, win or lose. So this is one of those games that it doesn't matter to them. It matters more for Philly because a win gets them the division. A win guarantees them the number 1 overall seed in the NFC, and all roads will go through Lincoln Financial Field. That's what you want. So obviously, if you're Philly, you're thinking this as you just want to win, you want to get the job done, you want to finish the job, do whatever you want to do. You've been playing the best football all season long. Just do what you got to do, handle your business, and get the job done. For New York, you got nothing to worry about. You're in, you're fine. Do you want? And the thing is, they're being smart. You don't want to get any of your starters to get hurt. You don't want Saquon Barkley out there to get hurt. You don't want Daniel Jones to get hurt. I understand why they're doing the move, so I get it. Philly's going to win. They're going to win this going away. Comfortable victory. They're going to get everything. NFC East Division title, the number 1 overall seed, the first round bye. All roads goes through Lincoln Financial Field. Philly will get it all. This will be their day. They will win this one going away. Anthony, it is yours.
Yeah. All eyes on whether quarterback Jalen Hurts will play for the first time since December 18. Well, with the sprained throwing shoulder. Of course, MF is reporting that he's going to go. In the event that he would not, it would be MF's boy Gardner Minshew for a 3rd straight week if it would come down to it. And correction, MF, the Giants are locked into the number 6 seed, not the 5. They're the 6, meaning they have the opportunity to rest key starters in this one if they should so choose. And obviously, you've just let us know that they will be. Bold prediction, the Giants keep this game close despite resting some of their top players. This has been a pesky bunch for the most part, minus the 26-point loss to the Eagles in their previous meeting. Who cares if the Giants are 14-point underdogs in this one? They will give the Eagles fits with that 4th-ranked rushing attack. A.J. Brown is 9 receiving yards shy of breaking the Eagles' single-season record set by Mike Quick in 1983 when he had 1,409 yards receiving. The Giants are locked into the number 6 seed, but while the Eagles locked up a playoff spot weeks ago, they still have something to play for here. A win gives Philadelphia the NFC East division title and the number 1 seed in the NFC. But if the Eagles somehow lose, they would need a Dallas loss to win the division and an additional 49ers loss to Arizona to still take the NFC's number 1 seed. ESPN's FPI is giving Philadelphia an 85% chance to win the NFC East and an 82% chance to hold off Dallas and San Francisco for the number 1 seed. New York is 9-2 against the spread as an underdog this season and 6-1 against the spread on the road, all as an underdog. FPI loves Philly in this one. 82% going with the Eagles. I'm going with the Eagles. Blowout win. I'm going to say 30-13. Philly all over the Giants. They get the number 1 seed and all roads to Super Bowl 57 in the NFC lead through Lincoln Financial Field in Philly. There's no neutral site stuff there. So nothing to worry about other than that. Next up, we got the Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the San Francisco 49ers from Levi's Stadium in San Francisco. And this will be over on Fox. And on that call will be Chris Myers, Robert Smith, and Jennifer Hale. San Francisco opening up as a 14-point favorite. Another big spread here. 14-point spread for San Francisco. Earlier in the year, San Francisco went into Arizona and pounded the Cardinals 38-10, snapping a 2-game losing streak to Zona. So San Fran adds to their series lead. It's now 33-29 in favor of San Francisco. Arizona, however, won in San Francisco last year, 31-17. The Cardinals have actually won the last 2 years in San Francisco. 49ers last beat the Cardinals at home in 2019. That was a 30. Actually, I'm right on that. It is 2019. 36-26 was the final in favor of San Francisco. So Cardinals and Niners, let's get into this one here. Let me see. All right. San Francisco enters tomorrow's game with a 9-game winning streak and a chance to claim the number 1 seed in the NFC. The last time the 49ers entered the playoffs with a winning streak of 9 or more games was in 1984, which ended with a victory in Super Bowl 19 against, sorry to say MF, your Miami Dolphins. There's nothing to play for. Injuries have riddled the roster, and the Cardinals are trotting out their 4th starting quarterback of the season in David Blau. But Blau will have the best game of his career, throwing for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of those scores will go to A.J. Green, who might be playing the last game of his career, and the other will find Marquise Hollywood Brown on a deep ball. The 49ers' 9-game winning streak is their longest since they won 11 straight in 1997. What's at stake? The NFC West Division champion 49ers still have an outside shot at the number 1 seed in the NFC. They need to win and see Philly lose. ESPN's FPI is giving a 4% chance. Arizona, meanwhile, is eliminated. And looking at the number 4 draft pick, 98% chance to end up in the top 5. San Francisco, 6-1 against the spread as a home favorite this season with 4 straight covers. 90%. The FPI absolutely loves San Fran. How do you not love San Fran? Easy win for San Fran. This is one of my locks of the week. 35-17, San Fran all over Arizona. MF, how about those Niners?
Agreed. I do believe as well that this will be a dominating performance. The Niners will have all their starters out there. They're gonna be looking for, that moment to maybe try to get the number 1. I don't think they will, but they should win this one pretty comfortably. There will be nothing more for me to say on that one. So yeah, Anthony, next game.
The other NFC West matchup here is it will feature the Los Angeles Rams squaring off against the Seattle Seahawks from Lumen Field in Seattle. This game over on Fox as well. Kevin Kugler, Mark Sanchez, and Laura Oakman, they will have the call for Fox in that one. And whoop, I just surpassed it. All right. Seattle opening up as a 6-point favorite in that one. They met last month in SoFi, and Seattle won that game by a score of 27-23. So Seattle adds to their series lead. Seattle now leads the all-time series now 26-22. And checking the stuff here, Seattle snapping a 3-game losing streak to the Rams, including the playoffs. Rams won in Seattle. Rams have actually won in Seattle the last 2 years. Rams won there last year, 26-17, and they also won 23-16 in the regular season, and then 30-20 in a wild card game in 2020 and 21. Seattle last beat the Rams at home in 2019. That was a 30-29 final. So MF, looking at the Rams and the Seahawks here, Rams are done, which means we're guaranteed a new Super Bowl champion, obviously.
Yep.
But for Seattle, they need to win and then have Detroit beat Green Bay, and they currently have only a 21% chance to make the postseason.
Yeah, the reason why is because Green Bay would have a better conference record, and that's why you're very nervous. If you're Seattle, you just gotta hold. You gotta hold serve. You gotta do what you gotta do. Handle your business. Win this game, which I do believe you will. So I got Seattle winning. Then after that, then you're watching that Sunday night game, and you're scoreboard watching, hoping and praying for an upset. And so I do believe Seattle will win it, and that will be that. So Anthony, it'll be yours.
Alrighty. The Seahawks need a win to keep their playoff hopes alive. But before beating the Jets last week, the Seahawks had lost 5 of their last 6 games. The Rams were the only team they beat during that stretch, and the Seahawks needed a late Geno Smith touchdown drive to do it. Bobby Wagner, in a bold prediction, Bobby Wagner will break the Rams' single-season record for tackles at 142 against his former team. Wagner needs 10 tackles to break the record. In the first game between Seattle and LA this season, Wagner had 7 tackles, 2 sacks, and an interception. The Seahawks have not missed the playoffs in consecutive seasons under Coach Pete Carroll. As I said before, ESPN's FPI currently gives Seattle a 20.7% chance, about 21% chance to make the playoffs. The Seahawks need to win here and then have Detroit beat Green Bay on Sunday night and tomorrow night. The Rams are out and do not have a first-round draft pick. Seattle is 1-6 against the spread in its last 7 games, despite covering against the Jets last week. Seattle is the FPI favorite, 62% going with Seattle. I'm going with Seattle. 31-19, Seattle beats the Rams. 2 games left, and we move on to America's game of the week when it comes to the Fox side of things. The Dallas Cowboys squaring off against the Washington Commanders, FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland, on Fox, and it's the A-team. Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olsen, Aaron Andrews, and Tom Rinaldi. They will be at FedEx Field for the Cowboys and the Commanders. And the spread favors Dallas. Dallas opening up as a 7-point favorite in this one. They met earlier this season in Dallas. Dallas won that game by a score of 25-10. So Dallas adds to their series lead against Washington all time. As I'm looking at it here. Yeah, Dallas now adds to their one-sided series lead. It's now 76-45 with 2 ties in favor of Dallas. Dallas has won 3 in a row against Washington. They won in Washington. Dallas won in Washington last year, 27-20. Washington's last home win against Dallas was 2020. 25-3 was the final here. All right, so I start this one off. So, yep, just give me a moment here. I got a little frozen there. All right, here we go. I think I've covered all the schematics. So Dallas and Washington. Got to go up a little higher. All right, I think I got it now. All right. Washington will start rookie quarterback Sam Howell, the 8th different starter in Coach Ron Rivera's 3 seasons, and the 33rd to start for the franchise since it last won the Super Bowl after the 1991 season. He'll get to face the NFL's 10th-ranked pass defense, which has recorded the 3rd most sacks and is tied for the 6th most interceptions. Bold prediction, the Cowboys will win. Now, keep in mind, this is only a bold prediction. This isn't by me or anything. The Cowboys will win the NFC East with a win and become the number 2 seed in the playoffs, with the Eagles losing to the Giants. They will become the first team to repeat as NFC East winners since the Eagles won 4 straight from 2001 through 2004. By being the number 2 seed, the Cowboys will get at least one home game at AT&T Stadium. But it's also possible they will face Aaron Rodgers if the Packers beat the Lions tomorrow night. Wouldn't that be a matchup for Cowboys fans to dread, knowing Rodgers' history against the Cowboys? The Cowboys are seeking their 13th win this season, which would tie their franchise record for a single season. They did it 3 other times before: 1992, 2007, and 2016, most recently. Washington is out, but Dallas is in and still in contention for the NFC East and the NFC's number 1 seed. A win and an Eagles loss clinches the division title, and an additional 49er loss would also hand the Dallas Cowboys the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. ESPN's FPI is giving Dallas a 15% chance at the division and a 2% chance at the number 1 seed. Washington, meanwhile, is projected to pick at number 14 in the draft and has a 1.1% chance to slip into the top 10. Washington is 0-4 against the spread in its last 4 games. 11 of its last 14 games have gone over the total. FPI loves Dallas in this matchup. 84% going with Dallas in this game. And I'm going to go with Dallas to win this game as well. 33-17, Dallas beats Washington. So not much more to say here. MF, your thoughts on Dallas and Washington?
Yeah, it's like you said. Washington's not really playing for anything now. Dallas definitely has everything, out in the open. Can they get that division title? I don't think they will, but they're going to be a tough out for whoever they got to deal with in the playoffs. They're going to be a problem for any team to get there. So I think Dallas is going to do some damage in the playoffs regardless. I do have them winning. As a matter of fact, if that holds, if Dallas does get the wild card, they're going to be at the 5 spot. They're going to play Tampa in round 1. And honestly, Anthony, I like Dallas. I think I would go with the Cowboys to knock out Brady and the Bucks, especially in that matchup. Oh, yeah. I got the Cowboys winning that matchup, and I'm just giving you a bold prediction right now on that one. So, nothing more to say, and Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF, the final game of the regular season, Sunday Night Football on NBC, 8:20 kickoff. The Detroit Lions squaring off against the Green Bay Packers from the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field in Green Bay. On NBC, Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark. Green Bay opening up as a 4.5-point favorite. First meeting at Ford Field, Detroit actually won the game. Detroit defeated Green Bay 15-9 was the final there. And Detroit cuts into Green Bay's one-sided series lead. 103-74 now. Green Bay leads with 7 ties. And Detroit winning in Detroit. The Packers, however, have won the last 3 meetings in Green Bay, including a 35-17 beatdown at Lambeau last year for Green Bay. Detroit has not won at Lambeau since 2018, when Detroit blasted Green Bay 31-0 at Lambeau in 18. So, all right, MF. This is it, the final game of the regular season. It's very simple when it comes to this. Packers win, they're in. Lions win, they win as long as Seattle loses.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
The thing is, because of the fact that outcome, I do believe that Seattle is going to win it. That should knock out Detroit from the shot at getting into the playoffs. However, remarkable run, incredible run for Detroit. They got nothing to be ashamed of. There's going to be high expectations for them next year. As for Green Bay, I do believe they'll get the job done. They have been one of the hottest teams in the NFC lately. You've seen what they've been doing lately, winning. I think they've won like 4 or 5 in a row going into this run. and I do believe that they'll go all the way and they'll finish the job. I got Green Bay winning and making the playoffs. So Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, and of course it's going to be a cold one there. 25-degree, around 25, 26 degrees at kickoff. It'll be in the 20s, so not too overly cold, but it's still going to be a cold one nonetheless. All right. The last time these two teams played, the Lions picked off Aaron Rodgers 3 times. Only 4 other times in Rodgers' career has he been picked off that many times in a game. Lately, it has been the Packers' defense that has been producing takeaways. It has 8 in the last 2 games and 12 total in their current 4-game winning streak. Bold prediction: Jamal Williams will break Barry Sanders' franchise record for most rushing touchdowns in a single season with 16. The former Green Bay running back needs just 1 to tie Sanders and 2 to own the record. He currently leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns at 15 and is coming off a season-high 144-yard rushing performance against the Chicago Bears as he prepares to face his old team. Both the Packers and Lions lost 5 straight at one point this season. The winner of this game could become one of the rare teams to lose 5+ straight games and still recover to make the playoffs. What's at stake? If the Packers win, they clinch a playoff spot. ESPN's FBI says there is a 66.7%, 67% chance. But if the Lions win, they clinch as long as Seattle loses to the Rams earlier in the day. Detroit has a 12.5% chance. Green Bay is 17-9 against the spread in its last 26 games as a home favorite. Green Bay, the FPI favorite, 66% for Green Bay. I'm going with Green Bay to win as well. I'm going to say final score 31-26. Green Bay defeats Detroit and finds their way into the playoffs. And with that, that concludes the regular season portion of our NFL show here as part of TXN Sports World. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in all season long when it comes to the regular season. So let's break down the schedule here. We will next be with you Monday night, immediately following Monday Night Raw for another edition of Ridiculously Raw. Well, actually, this will be our first Ridiculously Raw of 2023. As you know, we didn't do the show last Monday night out of respect for the Damar Hamlin situation because we were all shaken up from that. And because of that, we felt it was in the best interest to not do a show. So, but this will be our first Ridiculously Raw of 2023. We will review Monday Night Raw. And in a special Tony's take, I will give you my thoughts on AEW's Battle of the Belts, and I'm also going to preview the Impact Wrestling's first pay-per-view of the year, Hard to Kill, which goes down this Friday the 13th from the Center Stage in Atlanta, Georgia. And I will preview that pay-per-view on Monday night. Wednesday night, we got Wednesday Night Madness. And also on Monday night, if it's warranted, we could have some more bonus commentary of that national championship game between TCU and Georgia. We'll see. Wednesday, we got Wednesday Night Madness hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher, as it will be AEW Dynamite and NXT. Well, the other way around, NXT, then AEW Dynamite, obviously. Thursday, when it comes to the sports show, it's very simple. We will have a recap of the national championship game between TCU and Georgia, and then we will preview all 6 games of NFL Super Wild Card Weekend. Once we have the matchups and the announcers and all that, we'll get into all that on Thursday night as part of TXN Sports World. And then Friday, of course, the Cerebral Smack Talk hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher, as we will have Friday Night SmackDown and AEW Rampage. And that's it. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, and always and forever the First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up 14-4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed rest of your weekend and Monday. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching the special Saturday edition, TXN Sports World, NFL Saturday, Week 18, right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.